I've always been the guy who treats curiosity like a dare. Nothing excites me more than exploring the unseen corners of the internet. So when I first heard about the deep web, it felt like an invitation I couldn't refuse. At the time, I was in my second year of college, living in a cramped dorm room with flickering fluorescent lights, and roommates who thought privacy was an elective. Everybody seemed to be talking about Tor and hidden wikis, like it was the new social media craze. I half believed the horror stories. Tales of hackers tracing your every move, stumbles onto unspeakable imagery, threats delivered straight to your inbox. But in a crowd of skeptics, it felt safe enough to test the waters. One Friday night, I called my old friend Matt over. He'd set it up on his own laptop a week earlier and swore he'd only bought some weed through it, nothing too wild. We fired up my dying MacBook, installed Tor, and navigated to the hidden wiki. He warned me about the censor mode, a setting that blurred out the worst content. Just leave it on until you know what you're doing, he said. I nodded, heart thumping with anticipation. The first few weeks felt almost mundane. I joined forums dedicated to political conspiracies, downloaded indie music tracks, chatted with people from halfway across the globe. I even bought that weed. Green, sticky, underwhelming. I told myself I was a pro, that nothing could faze me, but that arrogance would be my undoing. One night, emboldened by my techno-savoir-faire, I switched censor mode off. I wanted the real deep web, nothing filtered. The hidden wiki links loaded slowly. Some were broken, others led to blank pages. Then I landed on All the Gore, a shock site masquerading as a chat room. The title should have been warning enough, but I clicked in. Inside, the screen filled with dozens of chat threads. Some were innocuous, name your favorite horror films, debate over urban legends, but one thread was pinned at the top, labeled simply Culture 045. Curiosity spiked, and I clicked. Immediately, the text scrolled, I broke in last night, kidnapped her. Parents first, slit their throats while they slept. You ever feel the wet give under the blade? My stomach roiled. I'd seen violent films before, but reading this felt different, like the knife was inches from my own throat. A user named Culture045 boasted about every detail. He posted photos, first a family portrait, then the same faces, eyes hollow, blood slick across the carpet. He described dragging the little girl back to his place, chaining her to a chair. And then the pictures got worse. Close-ups of bruised limbs, gashes weeping dark fluid, a grin smudged against the axe handle. My hand hesitated over the mouse. Every instinct screamed to close the window, to pretend this wasn't real, but I couldn't look away. Then the next image appeared, a snapshot of Culture himself wearing a surgical mask, holding a cordless drill against that child's skull. His eyes gleamed with something I can only describe as triumph. The digital clock on my laptop read 2:17 a.m., but the world outside felt frozen. I typed, "You people are sick," and hit enter. The room went silent. No typists, no chatter, just the hum of my own regret. Moments later, the chat exploded. Dozens of users piled on. Go back to kitty porn. Empath detected. You're as helpless as she was. The messages felt like a punch to the gut. Then a fresh message appeared. No username, no timestamp, just a green line of text reading, "Where do you live, buddy? We'd love to see you here." My heart slammed. I stared at the screen, mind racing. I typed back, shaking, "I'm calling the cops." And in the next second, every image vanished, the screen flickered to black, and a new box appeared, neon green letters pulsing, "Call the cops and you'll regret it." My webcam light blinked on without my permission. A window opened showing me, pale face, disbelieving eyes, staring at my phone. On my phone, a notification. A message from unknown that simply said, "Call the police and you're dead." Panic folded me in half. I covered the webcam and tried to close the browser, but the tab refused to budge. Another message blinked, "Uncover the cam." My heart hammered against my ribs. I peeled my hand away from the lens and another line dropped. "Glad you cooperated, now don't ever come back." Then they posted my full name, my age, my campus address. Would be ashamed if you and your college buddies went missing, they threatened. My breath hitched. I staggered to my phone, dialing 911 on trembling fingers. The operator promised they'd send someone, but I knew deep down nobody could erase what I'd seen or track these faceless monsters. I moved out of that dorm a week later, switched my phone number, ghosted most of my contacts. The nightmares still come. Shadows twisting in the corner, the echo of a drill. I thought that chapter was closed. I was wrong. A month later, I was staying with my friend David, solid, reliable David, who never touched the deep web. We were up late studying when my phone vibrated again. No number, just 2 words, check computer. I swallowed hard and turned on my laptop. The cursor moved on its own, opening a file labeled install.exe. I tried to override it, but my keyboard wouldn't respond. Then another message, look out your window. I glanced at the glass pane beside me. Outside, in the dim parking lot, a white van sat idling. A tall figure in a dark coat leaned against it, his head tilted, and he gave me a nod. David's eyes met mine, raw fear. Another text, type Shift-Alt-F5. My mind screamed that it was malware, that activating it would be a death sentence for my data and maybe me. I refused. Minutes later, the doorknob rattled, heavy thuds slamming against the wood until I half expected it to splinter. The van was gone, but the terror stayed. A final text, will be back. When the police arrived again, they discovered my door carved with my name. Fresh grooves gouged into the wood. A cyber forensic officer wiped my hard drive, removed the malware, but couldn't trace the messages. He warned me to keep my phone off at night, to change my wallpaper, anything to disrupt their grip. I thanked him, but I knew none of it mattered. I tried to convince myself I was safe, but that conviction shattered one sleepy afternoon. I had dozed off at David's place, and I woke to a sound, gentle rattling from the closet. My pulse spiked as the door creaked open. A masked man stepped out, toolbox in hand. I bolted from the bed, heart in my throat, slamming my shoulder into the door to block him. I sprinted down the stairs and jumped into my car, peeling out of the lot before the engine had a chance to warm up. The police canvassed the building again, but found no sign of the intruder, no tool marks on my door, nothing except the lingering dread. Later that night, I returned home to find my laptop's wallpaper replaced. Black and white trees, shrouded in mist, twisted into the shape of a skull. My files were gone, all my programs deleted. In their place, that same install.exe sat blinking on the desktop. I clicked it, and without warning, my screen filled with a live feed of a 13-year-old boy staring at his own reflection in terror. A chat box bubbled up in the corner. It read, "Welcome back, John. We've been expecting you." I couldn't turn away. Through that grainy webcam stream, I watched the masked man slip into the boy's room. I heard the child's muffled screams, saw the man tape his mouth, wrench his fingers back until they snapped. I pucked onto the floor, tears burning my cheeks, but I didn't look away. The crowd cheered for every blow, every wrench of a screwdriver into fragile flesh. "Thanks for watching, John," Culture 045 typed as the child's throat slit and the feed cut to black. My phone buzzed with 30 missed texts from friends and family. Accusations, horror, disbelief. They thought I'd sent that stream, that I was the monster. The cops cleared my name, arrested 4 men. Culture 045, Admin 1, and 2 accomplices. They shut down the site. I got a new laptop, a new phone, but nothing could erase the images burned into my mind. They're in prison, maybe even dying behind bars. But what haunts me most is that for every one of those monsters they caught, there are 1,000 more feeding that insatiable crowd. Somewhere, right now, someone is watching the worst of us, glorifying the cruelty that lurks behind every anonymous username. And all I can do is warn you. Curiosity has a price, and some doors, once opened, can never be closed again.